Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our mastermind session. Let me unmute Kevin. I want to pop into your account.
Okay.
And Kevin, remind me, what's the email address?
It'll be Kewones.
Here you go.
That one right there. Yep.
Okay. Now, just as an aside, we had a little fun. I've done this now with two people, and it really worked out well. So for those of you that are having a problem getting a good picture, um, during our coaching session, I just asked them to look at the camera and smile, and that's a great picture. Okay, so Kevin is in a hurry, and let's look at your network. So now you're up to 784, and what I'm going to do is come back over here and ask all of you. I'll put it in the chat to send him, if you're not already connected to him, a connection request, because for those of you that are new, the more incoming messages you have from people, the less likely that LinkedIn is going to give you a hard time about anything. Okay, so you have been reaching out to people, and at this juncture, you're basically going to connect everything. Well, now you see this is what's starting to happen. So let's go over and take a look at who you're talking to, or who you're attempting to talk. And
And excuse me, Max, the ones that have stars next to them are ones that got a reply, but I want to just pause right there rather than continue the conversation. So some of them have stars next to them to replies to the messages that I've been sending.
okay. But see, here's the thing I want you to understand. Some of the people that you're going to connect with are going to accept you, but they're not necessarily going to respond. Even when you send the second message, the icebreaker,
Yeah.
they just accept you. It's up to you to reach out to people to make,
Mhm.
to basically start the conversation.
Mhm.
So what you're going to be doing is you're going to decide. So we're not really studying the profile
Mhm.
when we send that initial request. When we accept them, when we send the icebreaker, sometimes we're not even doing that. It's when we
Mhm.
go to start the conversation. Now, what we can do is let's just go over. Let's get rid of not let's not do start, and let's just do focus. All right.
Mhm.
So now, um, okay, so people are sending you the connection request. All right, so let's take a look at her. Now, is this somebody that you know?
That was something. Yeah, that was something else. I've been talking to her for years.
Huh?
She's here locally with friends locally, and
Uh-huh.
so she was asking about a post on my wall.
Okay. Okay. So again, this is somebody that you know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at her. Okay, so here, and folks, this is a classic example of how a week ago on Monday it was Coach's Day. All right, so if we look at this woman, now you've been connected to her since 2009, but had never really talked to her, and so we restarted the conversation by sending her notice about the coach. And she goes, thank you. So then on Wednesday, we sent her this. So what prompted you to become a transformation coach after working as a life coach or a grief coach? And again, she came back. This is why I wanted you to wait. This is why I wanted you to wait for me. So I've had many losses in my life. Now, here's the thing that you all want to remember, that the answers that you get, now you've got a list of questions. We'd really like to say, hey, listen, I'm about to launch a special project and work with two people and make X amount of dollars. Would you like to know more about my business? But what we have to do, we have to learn to study the last answer that you got. Okay, this is the true power of the Socratic method of selling. All right, and remember that we want to ask open-ended questions that start with the words who, what, when, where, how, and why. So what you do, and this is just a matter of practice, you take it line by line. I've had many losses in my life, including being a widow. Now, I have had many losses in my life. what could you do with that sentence? What were they?
Mhm.
How did you come to have so many losses? Why?
Mhm.
Including being a widow at 32. So there are questions there. I've worked with grief counselors in different forms since 2009. Well, how? All you got to do is take the word how. How have you worked with grief counselors? Why have you worked with grief counselors? How do you work with them? What do you do with them? So God heals, and I also know that we do how that our mind is overwhelmed with both grief, supporting women and showing them how to process their grief. Okay, so now here's another one. So why? Okay, why? Now, so those are all the potential questions that we could ask. Now we come down here, and the biggest part of that is truly understanding who we are in Christ. Now, after we've looked at this, you see, you've already got in the back of your mind the strategy that you're going to use when you're talking to a coach. Many of the coaches, that I work with on LinkedIn that have been practicing coaching for as long as you've been practicing have all worked with a network marketing company on the side to generate additional income. What companies have you worked with? Again, that's where because there's no, unless there was a clear need. So we come down here, all right? Okay. So look at this. By showing them a healthy way to work through their pain. Okay. So how do you do that?
Mhm.
How do you help women do that? So we come down here and we can see now again, she just started to do this in June.
Mhm.
Down here, she was working. Well, no, this is her, JS and Company. So if you look at this, she was an intake specialist someplace. Then she started working with Set Free Academy. Now she says chaplaincy. So let's look at this. So these are all the things that she's done. Now again, we know right now, right here, where we could move this conversation. Many of the coaches that I work with are also working with the network marketing company, and she certainly falls into that category. Now, posting becomes a very part of this whole process. And what we have to do is we have to develop posting strategies that our prospects would appreciate getting and appreciate, may possibly share them. So now again, another thing is she just started this in June, transformation and grief coaching. So here she's a grief and trauma coach. Here she's a life and grief coach. And now she's become a transformation and a grief coach. So what prompted her to start talking about adding transformation to being a grief coach? Now let's think about it for a second. You're a grief coach, trauma coach. You're helping people dealing with their grief, dealing with their trauma. Adding transformation to the game now says she's doing what? She's helping people transform, move on to something else. So that's the nature of the conversation that we want to have. Is she a prospect? She's a terrific prospect. Okay. And you have her attention. So what we have to do first to really keep her attention is we're going to go over to Google and we're going to look for, now we could do grief, okay? Motivational quotes about grief. But since time, let's do that first. So we'll see motivational quotes about grief. Now, let's see if there are any gifts. And so actually, instead of going through this whole list, I want to do a search motivational quotes about transformation. Why? Because she's a transformation coach. She's added that. Okay. And so here, change is inevitable, but transformation is a choice. All right. So here's a good one. Transformation is an ongoing practice. Now let's see if we have any gifts. Okay, and this is probably one of my favorites. Change takes time. So we click on this. Keep your eyes on the prize, not the obstacles. So we're going to take this, copy the image. Now we're going to go back over to our conversation. Now, we want to think about the question. All right. You always want to have the first question in mind when you start this process. And so the question would be, what prompted you? Transformation and rebounding.
Mhm.
Okay. So what prompted you to transition your coaching program for women, program that supports women dealing with grief and loss? What prompted you to transition your coaching program dealing with grief and loss to transformation and rebounding using their words? And that's the key. So now we're going to come back up here to the top. That's going to be the question. Now what we want to do is we want to have a little bit of a dialogue. And okay, and so what we could say is, oh, let's take this, and I gotta take this, I gotta save it someplace. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm just gonna set up a little, move this over there, move this over there. Okay, so now the first thing that I can do is I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna take this, copy the image. Now remember what we did. We up here, we said I recently started sending motivational messages like these to my friends. I hope you enjoy them. So now we're gonna send that. Now it's Saturday. It's the start of a holiday weekend. All right. So now we could say we're having a nice weekend, and we could, 3 day out, and we could say a nice long weekend because Monday's a holiday. Now, many of my friends on LinkedIn are coaches.
Mhm.
You're the first one connected with that do what you do. Now we'll take and ask the question. I always want to have the question first. And then what prompted you to transition? Now we know where we're going. I mean, we could say this at any time, but we want to build up the relationship. We want to provide value to what you're doing. So we can come back over here, motivational quotes about change. Let's come down now. One of my favorites is the one about storms. Okay, not all storms come to disrupt, they come to clear your path. Well, here's another one. Whenever there is change and whenever there is uncertainty, there's opportunity. And again, it's a gift. It's supposed to be, yeah, there's subtle movement. So what we have to do, if we want to post it, we have to save it on our computer, and it's going in our and we're saving it in the same place, motivational message posts. So now we can come back up here and we'll go to our home page and we'll come up here, go to downloads, and we'll just post that. So she's going to see that. And the reason she's going to see it is because the people that see your post, if we wanted to share this, okay, and we go over here to share it, she's right up here. Because what LinkedIn does is they keep track of the last people that you've engaged in a conversation. So you don't have to share this. You could. She's going to see it anyway. All right. So now we know
Mhm.
where we're going to go with her. So we definitely want to keep the star. All right. So now let's come back and look at, let's look at this person. He's online right now. Now, one of the things, um, Nigeria is the capital of internet scams.
Mhm.
I don't know whether you knew that. So,
That's why I didn't engage him in conversation when he reached out to me for a connection request. I just actually just allowed it, and then I just sent that, and I didn't pursue it.
yeah, right. And so don't be surprised if in the next week or two he disappears because LinkedIn's going to throw him off. All
Yeah.
right. So let's come down here. Now these people are all online right now. So here you wrote to him. How long have you been on LinkedIn? So this is the part where we're picking up. Now, this is where we decide. So you send him that connection request, or somehow you're connected. There's no first message.
No.
Okay. So now let's take a look briefly Again, so he's a realtor. And he's a realtor. And what do we know about people in real estate? We know that people in real estate historically generate side incomes working with network marketing companies. Now, whether he's still doing it or not, is another case. So again, for people that have no clear need, it's still, an easy way to bring it up. So he's on here, and let's see how long he's been a real estate. Oh, he's a police officer. Whoa. So he's a police officer and in real estate. That's why we owe it. Okay. Now, first and foremost, as a general rule, whenever you look at someone's profile and they served, he was in the National Guard for 6 years. So you always want to thank them for their service. All right. Now, so you look at the profile and he doesn't tell you how long he's been in real estate, but he's a police officer. Now, 4 years ago, police officers were bailing. They were all leaving law enforcement. So we did this for 2015. All right. So he went to college, he graduated, and he became a police officer. Actually, he was in the National Guard, police officer, and now he's moving into real estate. Remember, we want to talk to people about them. So what would be what's the most obvious natural question that, just from looking at his background, what's the most obvious natural question that you could ask him about what you see right there?
I would simply say, hey, Charles, thank you for your service. Question, how long have you been a realtor, and why did you shift from being a police officer to a realtor? Or are you still doing both?
Well, you got the right idea. Okay. Again, the question, remember, we want to ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions start with the words who, what, when, where, how, and why. So, right, first, what we want to do is we want to thank him for his service. Then, and clearly, he's continuing to serve by working as being a police officer. So you could ask him, how long has he been selling real estate? Okay, but that's going to give you a number. Okay, but if you asked him, what prompted you to start selling real estate, it's a pretty predictable answer. I'm trying to sell real estate because I want to make more money.
Right.
And I want to leave law enforcement. So he is definitely, let's come back over here to the message. Now you've been connected to him, so you just connected to him. Okay, so now first, let's come back over here to the message, and we're going to, right out of the gate, we're going to star this guy, so we don't want to lose track. Now, he never answered this. So the next thing you do to start the conversations, and you're going to do this with everybody. Everybody. What you do is we start out by sending them a motivating post. Future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So first you send them that.
Okay.
Then the script that we're going to use is to start the conversation is, I just sent this to a good friend. Hope you enjoy them.
Okay.
All right. Now, again, the question, what prompted you? The question. Now, we come back up here. We have a lot of conversation.
Yeah.
So say first, and he was in
Guard.
Okay. And so he's been a police officer. There's 2.5 years. So he's been a police officer for well over 10 years. Now, we don't have to mention anything about the police. Okay. So what prompted you to start selling real estate after working in law enforcement for over, 10 years? Over 10 years. You want to ask him a question that is easy for him to answer. More important than that, you want to ask him a question that he would want to answer. People love talking about themselves. So first we send them this. Now, moving ahead, when he comes back and tells you. So he tells you, what prompted him to get to real estate. Then naturally we want to ask him a couple of other questions, like, so what real estate market are you working with? How long, and I just saw, now watch what happens. Within 60 seconds, okay, he's going to start typing. It depends, obviously, it depends on what he's doing. I mean, if he's
If
with
it's
a
busy, yeah.
client, if he's with a client, he's
Yeah.
not going to do it right away. But you got his
Right,
attention,
right,
you know, because his phone just dinged.
right, right.
And the last thing you want to do is get a message from somebody that says, I was in a goddamn car accident yesterday because of your message
Um,
going. See,
mhm.
you don't want to do that. So, but
Right, right.
we don't have to sit here and wait, for him
Hmm.
to answer. We move on to the next person. If he went, I hear
Yep.
you. No, no.
Less than 60 seconds.
Oh God, I love this business. So, and so what now he's typing. Now, what you can do, if there's someone on the other side that you see they looked at it, okay, and you want to buy
Hmm.
some time,
Hmm.
what you can do is you can put your cursor in here like that, and then you can just hit the space bar a couple of times. Okay, so he thinks you're typing more.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So now again, where do we want to go? Well, first, it depends on what he says.
Also, if I may interject, while you doing that spacing, he's thinking you're typing. Now he's going to finish his conversation simply because he knows that you saw that he sees that you saw him.
Bingo. I don't like it though. It was my pleasure serving our country. Real estate is so fun and interesting. Law enforcement isn't. I needed a change. Okay. So where are you located?
Owasso, Oklahoma. Just say Oklahoma.
Now, I don't like it though. It was my, okay. Well, real estate is fun and interesting. Law enforcement isn't. I needed a change. Now, we could say that we want to think of the question. So the question
Mhm.
would be, how long have you been selling real estate?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What, when, how, why? Yeah. Okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
I knew you would. So, how long have you been selling real estate? And then the next question would be, what kind of real estate do you sell? What market are you in? Are you selling, you know,
Commercial, residential.
yeah, residential? What's the price range? So, you're selling the
Mhm.
luxury homes. So I'm in Oklahoma. So now we're going to say many friends. Now, what we could do here is instead of that, we could say
Mhm.
many of the law enforcement professionals that I'm meeting on here, the same you do. Now, again, this is an easy question for him to answer.
Yeah,
Okay. You always want to keep, and he just look, he's staring at his phone.
yeah.
Okay. So what you want to
He was waiting on the rest. He was literally sitting there waiting on you to respond.
exactly, exactly. Now, the one thing that I have to caution you about is, if you got you because you can get three or four of these going at the same time
Yeah, yeah.
and so at when you have to decide quickly whether who you want to continue to keep talking to and who
Hmm.
you want to just stop, because you can get to them. You don't have to um respond to everybody. And again, we could be
Right.
doing all kinds of different things. So now, what kind of posts would he be interested in seeing from you? What would be the subject?
Law enforcement posts like
No,
like bad boys imagery.
no, it's right. Again, everything, Kevin, that you need is right here in their last answer. Okay. You go right up here. LinkedIn works fine. I don't like it. Laws enforcement isn't. Needed a change.
Mhm.
All right. So we come back up here. Motivational
Motivational
quote
posts about change and transformation. Yeah.
about change. And the more you do this, because you're gonna be coming across the same quotes. Oh,
Okay, it just clicked. The answers that they give in response to the questions that I'm asking are about literally, they're just telling you basically their needs, their wants, their desires. And so you post and you compliment their response based upon how you target what you're posting, right?
Mhm.
Something like to that effect.
Pretty much.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty much. Now, and there are a couple, and you're going to be, remember, we're talking to the same types of people, and the conversation flow is going to be the same for most of the people that you're talking to.
Mhm. And
And
so what I would do is I would look for a GIF that's about change, and then I might incorporate that in my message as we're going back and forth.
or right, exactly. Or actually, see, here's the beauty of this, because what you post broadcasts the message, not just to him, but to everybody else you're talking to
Right, right, right.
that wants to
Okay, yeah.
change. And and
Yeah.
and there are some really, really good ones. I'm gonna pull up the let me pull up the
And I could do this all day.
well, wait a minute. I mean, when we first started talking, you were telling me how much, you're a phone guy.
I mean, like on the phones, Max, literally, I'm on the phones like 4 or 5 hours a day going through hundreds of calls.
Right. This is better than that, isn't it?
Way better.
Yeah. So the well, actually, there are going to be quotes that you're going to, so what you can do is you try to remember the words of the quote.
Hmm.
So nothing, here you go right here.
Hmm.
Nothing is worse than being stuck where you are instead of doing something new. And actually,
Hmm.
there are better ones than that, but that's nothing is worse than being stuck where you don't belong. Now let's see what we got here. Growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong.
Hmm.
Now, the thing is, now let's see if we could add a gift to it.
Yeah.
Now, if you can't, oh, here you go. So, again, we're looking for,
Something coming to, complimentary.
so again, what we're looking for is we're looking for one that moves. If we can't find it, it's okay. Okay. So let's come back and see what he wrote back. Okay. 1 month. Now,
And quick question before you proceed, Max. When their responses are short, this is one thing I learned a while back. The person that's doing the talking is literally losing. The person that does most of the talking is losing the conversation, and the person asking the questions is the one controlling the conversation. But when the person is giving like short quips of a response, you don't want to have diarrhea of the mouth. You don't want to just keep on going. You want to be short and to the point as well, right?
well, yes, but by the same token, what you want to do, I mean, see, we've asked a question that
Mhm.
required a short answer, actually, a number.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So, it's typically, in line. So,
Yeah.
but
I'm
before,
I'm a, I'm a chess player. I'm a chess player, so I'm looking at this like playing chess. I gotta, they're gonna move. I gotta move.
bingo, bing, that's exactly the way it works. Okay. It's exactly like playing chess. Okay. I move my knight over here, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to take it, and then I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
move my queen over there, and I'm going to take your
Hmm.
bishop, and I'm going to put you in
Yeah,
check. You,
yeah.
you, and what happens, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. What
Hmm.
happens is you begin to look at these conversations and you say, you know what? I'm three messages away from checkmate.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, three messages away. And if the conversation is going or not going where you want it to go, at that juncture, you can say, you know what? I'm going to stop talking to this guy because I've got all,
Yeah.
all these other people over here that I can be talking to.
I love how you just explained that analogy simply because, when you're really good at chess and you know that you're playing an opponent that's not that good, you could just toy with them and it becomes a game.
No, it really does. And of course it beats, pounding on the telephone, calling
Right,
people that you know nothing about.
right.
Okay.
That's wasting my time. I got literally out of 290 calls yesterday, I got 7 appointments booked. Three of them actually no showed. I got one lady to sign up yesterday, but at the same token, most of the calls that I made out of the 200 and something were mostly no answer, voicemails left, emails sent, and a lot of people looking for jobs.
Right. So again, you just like let's take a snapshot of that. So the average person that loves the phone
Yeah.
is thinking, well, let's go like this so we can see still you're typing. We got to okay. So the average person is going, okay, so I had to make 200 calls. I'm going to go through all the garbage, but I got one. Okay. Now what you're in the process of learning to do, especially now when we move these conversations forward, when we get to the point where we're talking about network marketing in the business, when for every 10 people that you talk to, and he knows all about network marketing, somebody's told him about it.
Mhm.
For every 10 people that you're talking to, four of them that have network marketing experience, four of them are going to be willing to take a look at what you're doing.
Mhm.
And right now it's two out of four are signing up.
Wow.
And I think that number, I really think that number is going to go higher. Again, it's all about who you're talking to. So the question we want to ask is,
Yeah. What kind of real estate?
what kind of real estate are you selling? Now, we kept them waiting a little while so we could say, sorry, got a little LOL. Right? Now let's see how long it takes them to look.
Mhm.
Again, it'll be less than 30 seconds. Now, let's say, he doesn't answer. Okay? Because now the phone rang for him. Somebody called
Yeah, yeah,
him
yeah.
up
Right.
about it. Okay? Or if he hadn't answered at all. Now, we already told him that, come back up here. I routinely send messages out these to my friends.
Mhm.
So now we can come down here and he may be off doing something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here but I want the GIF. Okay, so we can't find the GIF.
Did that highway move that street to the left, down, a little bit more, right there to the left. Growth is painful, change is painful. The street to the left, does that move? No.
No, because it usually says, but it doesn't matter. Okay, if it's not moving, you got his attention.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we'll do is, I got to, I like this picture. So, okay, well, here, let's take this one. Take this one, copy the image. You come back over here, pop it in there. Okay.
Mm, good.
His phone's gonna ding.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when he comes back, again, we always want to have a plan and a direction that where we want to go. So, what kind of real estate are you selling? How's business?
Hmm.
Now keep
Yeah,
in mind, how's business? Let them, oh man, I got 5 offers already. You,
yeah.
you
Just
know,
you're steering the conversation. Okay.
exactly. And the way you control the conversation is to always end your message with a question.
Yes.
The last thing a person should see in the message between you and them is a question.
Got you.
Okay? So we can come back over here and we can scroll down and
Sarah Stockinger.
okay, let's take a look at her. All right. All right. Now, something about LinkedIn. Let's take a look at her. See
She's
now,
a smart cookie.
I'm sorry, what?
She's a smart cookie.
Who is? Okay.
Brain-based coach.
Brain-based coach. Guiding laid off. Okay. So she's guiding laid off women. Okay. So she's teaching women, laid off women to rewrite their identity. Okay. To what? What does she help these women? What type of identity
Hmm.
does she help these women? So I'm helping mid-career rebuilding their identity. Being laid off from a company I devoted 18 years. Now, how would she fit into your potential as a business partner? She's working with all these women.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah.
so the question is, I'm here to support your journey.
Mhm.
All right. Now, again, the overall strategy would be most of the coaches, that I work with that do what you do are all working with a network marketing company or have all worked with a network marketing company to generate income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's been doing this now for a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, here's what happened. She's working for this company for 18 years
Wow.
and she got laid off. Okay, all right. So I just heard from my bride that I have to go. And
I
so,
appreciate you, Max. Thank you so much, man.
so as far as so you have a pretty good idea,
Yeah.
what you would do at her.